Next Sunday is daylight savings time. Spring forward 1 hour. You don't want to miss a minute of our services, Bible class, worship services. You lose an hour of sleep, but you get an extra hour of daylight. And that begins, again, next Sunday, Sunday, set before you go to bed on Saturday night. So you know and ready to go, so that you won't miss a moment of what's going on. By the way, speaking of things that are going on, don't forget tonight, here at the building, 5:30, we're going to have a game night for the whole family. We're going to offer babysitting for our younger kids. We're going to divide them up into two, the very young and a little bit older group. We've got babysitters hired to take care of that, so don't use your kids as an excuse not to be here. But you older kids, be sure to be here. We're going to play all kinds of games. We have jambalaya. Bring stuff to go with that. We're definitely going to try to get that going tonight. I think they've got a bunch of different games and things that they've got planned for tonight. We've got planned for tonight. It's going to be a fun time. We'll see who comes out winning tonight. Someone asked, well, what goes with jambalaya? Well, salads, hush puppies. Of course, you want to bring desserts. And I don't know what else goes with jambalaya. You might have to Google that. But be sure to make your plans to be here tonight. It's going to be a fun time. And also, don't forget, there's a couple other things you need to mark on your calendar. Daylight savings time next Sunday. The work day here at the church building. We're planning a work day for the church building on Sunday, March the 16th, starting at 9 o'clock. We need people that can do just about anything. We've got light bulbs that need replacing in the building. We've got some classrooms that need cleaning out. We've got some storage rooms we're going to reorganize. We've got a bunch of different areas around the church. Believe me, we've got something for you to do for this. So make sure you make your plans for that as well, and be a part of that work day here. Bring tools. We're actually in need of a longer ladder for some of the things that we've got to get to for this. So if you've got one, bring that with you. And then, of course, we have the baby dedication Sunday. Someone's asked, well, what is a baby dedication? Really, the baby don't have anything to do with it. It is parents committing themselves to bringing their children up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. It is the church confirming our dedication to families to be a support mechanism for you. And a place where our elders are going to come. All of our elders are going to come up that Sunday. They're going to say prayer over our young families. And believe me, they need it. They have so many challenges. So make your plans for that. If you plan on being a part of that, again, fill out the papers and get it back to Kayla. And we're going to have, that's going to be a great day too. So just so many exciting things going on here at the church. And that brings me to my lesson, because, there's so many great things going on, and there's so many great needs that we have for this church. This is a place for you. If you've ever been a place where you thought you didn't have a niche, we've got a place for you. By the way, I want to mention something here too, by the way. Speaking of things going on, Jarrett Johnson is leaving out Saturday the 9th. And he's going on a Harding mission trip, which I think is fantastic. He's going to Jamaica, leaves Saturday the 9th, so keep him in your prayers as he goes on a mission trip. That's where, it's amazing when you're a church that you have so many fingers that go out into different places. And Jared's one of those. He's one of our own, and I'm excited. Anytime, of course, we have the mission trip that we're planning coming up. What's that? Next Sunday, we're having during Bible hour, we have the people coming to tell us about this trip, the things we need to be doing, how we can participate, the organization that we're working with out of the church there in Honduras. You want to be here for that. It's next Sunday during Bible hour. Everybody, all the teens, all the way through, all the adult classes will meet here in the auditorium next Sunday morning for that meeting. You remember when we did the State of the Church address, we talked about one of the things we're wanting to do is have some more mission emphasis. And certainly we want to do that. And we're going to try to promote different areas of mission throughout the year. We're planning a big mission trip in June, primarily for our young people, but it's for everybody. We definitely need chaperones if we're taking kids with us. And we want you to be get the information next Sunday about that, you'll be excited about the work that's going on here. You know, before you work on anything, you got to get an idea of what you want first. And in order to get where you're going, you got to know where you are. And that's one of the things that we're trying to do here at this church. Most of us have been through the process together. We're trying to honestly discern what God expects of us as a person, as an individual, but we have that same struggle as a church. We are constantly looking and praying and thinking about what does God want for us as a church? What direction do we need to go? What emphasis do we need to make? And so we've been talking about there's several areas of the work that we have. We have worship, and that's a great area that we work on, and fellowship, and discipleship, and ministry, and missions, and all those different areas. We work together in these areas. And really, when we make a decision on things that we're doing, we make a decision based on, do they fit within the paradigm of what we're trying to do at this church? Because there are a lot of good things to do. But you may get so involved in doing good things that you leave off the better things. And so we as a church, and let me tell you something, we have tried to be very much so in our planning of being intentional in the direction this church goes in. And you may not know it or not, but if you've ever been in any of our planning sessions that we've had with our leadership, you'll find out that we've been trying to be very intentional, and we run everything through a filter. You know, because there are so many good things we can do. So what is it that God wants us to do? Well, this morning I want to primarily emphasize ministry. We are a church that is called to ministry. And we need to do that. And so before you work on how to get there, again, you need to know where you're going. And we need to know where's our emphasis on ministry. And so what's taking place among us? We're trying to understand these areas better. We're trying to emphasize these for a purpose. Trying to organize around the reasons for our existence as a congregation. We need to know why we are here. God has a purpose for you as an individual. God has a purpose for this church. I hope you have a bulletin this morning, because I'm going to refer to the bulletin this morning quite a bit, just to show you that some of the purpose that we have. Listen, let me tell you something. We have these signs up here. What does it say? We exist to live and love like Jesus. And that's true. But that's a very broad statement. If we exist to live and love like Jesus, what does that mean? How do you flesh that out? Well, I believe we flesh it out in the ministries that we are involved in, the things that we do. Ministry is demonstrating God's love through service. So if we want to live and love like Jesus, we're going to find out, we're going to consider some things, some concepts concerning ministry. Let me show you a couple of them. First of all, I want you to understand that every Christian is a minister. Everybody in here is a minister in this church. Living and loving like Jesus. Well, how does that fit within there? To be a Christian means to be like Jesus. It means we follow Him. We follow His example. He's our example, and He's the goal that we have, to live and love like Him. Well, in Mark chapter 10, verse 45, it says, even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give His life a ransom for many. Some of the other translations say He came to minister. He gave us, that's what Jesus' life, He didn't come to be ministered to. A lot of times we come to church and think that's exactly what we're here for. That, they're going to sing for me, and they're going to speak for me, and they're going to build me up, and they're going to do all these things. Jesus said, I didn't come to be ministered to. I came to minister, to serve, to be a part of something bigger than myself. Now here's the very Son of God setting the example for us. Every Christian is created for ministry. In Ephesians 2:10, for we are God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. Ministry, serving, working. Now, part of the purpose of leadership in the church is to equip its members for ministry, for work. As a matter of fact, that's actually one of the purposes of our elders. The reason that God put them here in this congregation was to help us in that. In Ephesians chapter 4, verses 11 and 12, and He Himself gave some to be apostles, some prophets, some evangelists, some pastors and teachers for the equipping of the saint for the work of ministry, for the edifying of the body of Christ. we are here, and our leaders are here to try to help equip us for, what did he say? For ministry. For the edifying of the body, to build the body up. Now, part of this purpose of leadership in the church, again, is to equip you for that. At verse 12, he says, to prepare God's people for work of service so that the body of Christ may be built up. We need to find our niche. It builds you up and it builds the church up. We need each other. Every single person in this church is important to this church. And every single person in this church needs a ministry. They need to be involved in different areas. They need to be doing things. And every Christian is not gifted in the same area, but all of us have gifts. All of us can do something. Now, we can't all do everything, but we can all do something. And the purpose of us as a church is to find out what it is that we're able to do and equip each other to be able to do those things. He says in 1 Peter chapter 4:10, as each one has received a gift, minister it to one another as good stewards of the manifold grace of God. Again, as each one has received a gift. Now, I don't know what your gift is. Your gift may be encouragement. You may be one of those people that, and there are people like that. They just walk in the room and they light up the room, don't they? You've got people who have gifts of ministry. They're the people that, if you're sick, they're going to show up at your doorstep. They're going to be the ones that's carrying a casserole. They're going to be the ones that's sending a card. They're going to be the ones doing certain things. Some of your ministries is actually, some of you have some talents and abilities in doing some things that are physical things. Bill Boner is very talented. He could do just about anything. If you need something fixed, I hate to tell that, because don't be calling him saying you got something that needs to be fixed. But he's fixed a lot of things. I was talking to him a couple of weeks ago, and we were doing something. He said, and he came over to actually help me do something. And he said, well, I'm fixing to go over so-and-so's house and fix their one of our members here. I'm going to their house. They got some problem with their dishwasher. I'm going to help them fix their dishwasher. And he said, and then I get done with that, I've got this other place I've got to go to. And I'm going to. Now, you won't ever see Bill up here preaching, although he tries to dress just like me. I think he's a Mitchell wannabe. I told him that this morning, and he started crying. But Bill, it's amazing how many times him and I coordinate what we have on. But anyway, Bill can do just about anything. I don't see him up here preaching, but I'm going to tell you what, he can do some things that I can't do. And we need that in the church. You see what I'm saying? We have other people who just are gifted. You go back there and look in the fellowship hall, in the gymnasium when you leave, and look how it's decorated up for tonight. We've got some people who's got some talent in this congregation. God has blessed us. Each of us receives a gift. I saw Angie Tollett this morning chasing one of our members down to give him a hug, and they were running hard, and she caught him. He tried to run. Of course, I stopped him. Actually, I ran block for her. But he was trying to get rid of him. I'm not going to mention David Hatfield's name or anything, but he was trying to get away, and I said, David, I need to ask you something real quick. He said, okay, and she got him. But anyway, but that's a gift she has of encouraging people and showing them that they're loved and things like that. And we have so many people in this church that are gifted, that are blessed. I think of Mickey and working in the work that she does. Y'all don't know how much Mickey does for this church without ever hearing a word through Good Samaritans. I don't know whether you know, we kind of work together through Good Samaritans. A lot of times we have a benevolence need. We'll run through her, because so many times we don't have the way to be able to filter things to find out if something's legit or not. They have a well-run organization there. And, whether you know it or not, you think, well, Mickey works for Good Samaritans. That's what she puts on a resume. But she works for the Lord. And she's using her talent for God. And you could just go over and over. We've got school teachers here that are encouraging kids at school, that probably the only encouragement they ever get, because they don't get it from their families in their home, they get it from their teachers showing up at school. These are ministries that they're involved in that so many times we even take for granted here at the church. I think about our our children's ministry and all the different needs that we have in there. I'm so glad that Kayla stepped up and doing the things, and I'm excited about what she's going to be doing for this church, and she's excited about it. Just ask her. I mean, she's excited about it. But what I'm excited about is not only her doing that, but I'm excited about the potential for doing some things in the future. But one of the things, though, that she has to deal with is people saying, well, you know what? I'm going to let you handle this. I've been doing this for a while, and I'm going to let you do this. And she's going to have a hard time if you don't step up and fill those spots that need to be filled. All of us have a gift. I went through classes this morning. I love, by the way, some of you wonder why I'm roaming around so much sometimes. I go to every kid's class every Sunday morning. I try to. I missed last Sunday, and you would have thought something happened. The kids come up, you didn't come talk. You didn't come to our classes. Well, I try to go to every class every Sunday morning, and part of it is I have a gift, irritating kids. It's a tough job. Somebody's got to do it. And I'll go in and I'll sing, a song to them. It's good morning to you and all that. And I'll sing, and some of them will cover their ears, and some of them will hide under a chair, But it's a tough job, but somebody has to do it. Somebody has an ability to I need to use that talent that I have. I used to tell my kids all the time when I'd irritate them, I said, it's a tough job, but somebody has to do it. Well, that's me. And I go to class every Sunday morning and see our kids. But they need to know that they're important, I think. And they need to know that I think they're important. So I try to go to those classes every morning. What I'm saying is every Christian is to be a minister. And there are times we need to be ministered to. But we also need to be ministers. Second thing is, every ministry is important. Every ministry is important. There are no unimportant people in the body of Christ. And there are no insignificant ministries either. Anything done out of love in the name of the Lord is important. Now, again, you may undersell yourself in thinking that what I do doesn't mean that much. There's some of you mothers who have kind of pulled back, and I hate it when someone asks a woman who stays home with the kids, well, what do you do? That is the most ridiculous question ever. They are forming lies for eternity. Now, I wished every mother had the opportunity to be able to stay home with their kids, and I know that there's a lot of you who would love to that can't. But we need to lift up these that do and let them know that, what you're doing is important. We also need to encourage the ones that can't and letting them know that we know the struggles that they have, and we're here for you. That's one of the reasons we're having that baby dedication day. We want them to know that yes, we're a church. And being a church means we're a family. The Bible describes a church as a family of God. We are a family, and we're here for you. And so every ministry that we have here is important. Anything done. Matthew chapter 10:42 says this. If anyone gives up a cup of cold water to one of these little ones because he is my disciple, I tell you the truth, he will certainly not lose his reward. What does that mean? It means it doesn't matter how minuscule you think what you're doing is, it's important. It means a lot. It may be just a cup of cold water. It may be there at the Walmart when you're walking through the line, and that poor girl that's up there at the counter who's heard everything in the world, and you go up there and just say, hey, thank you for being here, or hey, how's your day going? It's amazing. Matter of fact, for some of you who go and you're so caught up in what you got to do next when you go through the Walmart line, take a moment next time you go in there and just speak to one of those cashiers. You will see a difference in their demeanor will change just like that. I try to make a point of doing that when I go in, because I know. One thing, because one of my first jobs I had when I was in school was working at Walmart. I know what those guys get. I used to work at Walmart when they had less than 100 stores. I was in store number 64 in Brownsville, Tennessee. And I used to love that when they used to do I don't know if y'all old enough to remember the red light specials they used to run. I was the guy that did the red light specials at Walmart during Christmas time. I used to love to work on Christmas Eve. That's when I'd buy all my Christmas, because I would buy every red light special they have. But those guys get it rough. Or Kroger's or Big Lots or wherever it is you go do your shopping in. Those people, they're not getting paid much. That poor little girl at McDonald's who might mess up your order, you don't know she don't make much. And that's a job to get you to another job a lot of times. And it's hard. It's work. They need to know that they're important. And the people you see around here need to know that they're important. And anything done out of love is important, whether it's just a cup of water. It's important. Third thing is we're dependent upon each other. All of our purposes are tied together. It involves every one of us to the glory of God and to the growth of His kingdom. The Lord is building this congregation. And as I said earlier, we are a family. 1 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 18, we look at the ministries here and the things that we've got going on, the worship and the fellowship and the discipleship and the ministries and the missions. All these things working together. You notice all of them overlap together because they do. We have to work together. 1 Corinthians 12, 18. But now God has set the member, each one of them in the body, just as He pleased. God put you here for a purpose. He is the one who set you in the body. He is the one that placed you in this church. And He has a purpose for you. Hey, there's a reason that you are here. Now you need to discover what that reason is. Recently, several young people were added to the body here. We had those 4 young people. We've had 5 baptisms since the first of the year. Isn't that awesome? And they were all young people. These young people need to know that they're here for a purpose. Not just to sit in the pew, that God has put them here for a purpose. There's some place for them to fill in the body. You know, and they need to understand that they're new Christians, but they're necessary. Somehow gifted to participate in some form of ministry. I always talk to them, you know, when I baptize them, I usually tell them a few things. First of all, you know, I ask them why they want to be baptized, and I ask them, do they realize that they're lost? Because I said you can't be saved until first of all you figure out you're lost. You know, I ask them about have they sinned and these kinds of things. Sometimes they got to, you know, rattle exactly what sin is, but you describe what sin is, they say, oh yeah, I've done that. But that when you know when they do that. But also I always tell them, I said, you know, when you become a Christian, you become a part of the church. And time to put up the toys. It's time to participate in the worship. It's time to take the Lord's Supper now. But it's also, I asked them, I said, do you get an allowance? I'm amazed how many of you guys don't give your kids allowances. That's good. I don't think you ought to give them money. I think they ought to earn it. But anyway, but most of them, all 4 of these that we just baptized, none of them get an allowance, by the way. But I said, well, when you start getting money, you have a responsibility to give part of that back to God. And then I tell them you need to find your place. You need to find a place to serve. All of us need to find a place to serve. You know, the Bible tells us in 1 Corinthians 12:21, and the eye cannot say to the hand, I have no need of you, nor again the head to the feet, I have no need of you. In Romans 12:5 and 6, so in Christ we are many, form one body, and each member belongs to all the others. We have different gifts according to the gifts given us. We are dependent on each other. As a church, we need each other. Even now, whatever stage or age you are in your life, we need each other. He says, you know, he starts there in that last verse in 1 Corinthians 12:21 saying, you know, the eye can't say I'm more important than the hand, or the hand more important than any other thing. You know, there's certain things you got to have in order to live in life. You just have to have them. They're not the prettiest part of the body. They're not the, you know, some of you think, you know, your beautiful skin is and your you know, your beautiful face and all those things are the most important thing. There's more. Let your heart stop beating. I never said anybody walk up and said, man, you have the most beautiful liver. You know, but try to do without it. You see what I'm saying? All the parts are not the prettiest parts, but all the parts are important for the function of the body, are they not? And that's the way it is. You know, some of you, you know, again, Bill Boner ain't the prettiest guy in this building. But and some of you others don't look so good. But you're important. And we need each other. And now some of you make us look good. My wife makes me look good. By the way, the Bible talks about the wife being the glory of the husband. That's what that means. It means she just makes him look good. And she does. The things that she does. But next thing you need to understand, though, that we're dependent on each other. Even now, some of you may be doing good to get out of bed this morning. There's still a ministry for you. Prayer and calls and cards and taking care of your husband and a smile on your face and a cup of cold water. Those things. But the next thing is ministry is expressed in your service. Ministry is an expression of what God has done and is doing in your life. And you need to understand that. We've been trying to do some things in the church. We've got a program that we actually pay a monthly fee for. It's called Planning Center, and we've tried to get everybody plugged into this so we can kind of know where people are. We keep up with your giving. We keep up with different areas of work and all this, and we're really trying to make an effort to try to plug as many people in. The elders feel it's important that you find a place in this church because this is a church that has a place for you. And so we work hard to do that. If you have your bulletin, I want you to notice we changed the back of our bulletin this week to kind of express that because there's been some things, and we have on there, if you notice, it has our contact information about the One Call Now. By the way, if you're not on the One Call Now, that is a program that we have to where we have your number programmed in it, and if there's an event going on, we do call outs like on Wednesday. I call out and tell you what the menu is for Wednesday night, or if we have some activity going on, telling you what that activity is and getting you involved in those things so you can be communicated with. It's just another form of communication that we have. And if you're not involved in that, we can plug you in. If you'll give me your name and your telephone number, write it on a piece of paper. If you're not getting the One Call Now calls, you should be because it's really informative. And a good reminder. But also, we do Facebook alerts. We have 2 Facebook accounts. We have a private one and a public one. And if you're a member here, you can be involved in both of them. We have the online presence with our website. Then I've got listed there with our elders. We have, the list of our elders and our deacons. And we have 3 deacons. And I've heard people say, well, you only have 3 deacons. We have so many. How can we do the work that we have here with just 3 deacons? Then we've got our ministers. By the way, Aaron, I don't know why you haven't been in the bulletin. Why haven't you said anything about that? He's our worship minister. And you're in there now, though, buddy. And your telephone number. What's that? That's right. Now you got to live up to it. Y'all know, yeah, that he's our worship minister. And he does a great job. Kayla's in there and her contact information, email and my contact information to me. But we added a thing because a lot of people think, well, you only got 3 deacons. There must not be that much going on in this church. We put our ministry team leaders in here this week. And we're going to start putting that in there every week so you can, and a part of this is to show you that there's a lot of things going on, but another reason is to show you areas of work to where maybe you can get plugged in if you're not. And we got like the greeter services. Scott and Gayla over that. And that means the overall thing. But we have broken down in that particular area. Our greeters, that's Angela and Ingram, and our ushers, Joe Zachary, and our parking, Curtis Tollins over that when we have a special event. And our welcome center, Gaylor's over that. And our security, Richard Webb is over that. Hospitality, Terry Walters is over that. Somebody has to put out those muffins that you've been eating on. And Terry and his wife does as much as he does. But we put his name on there. But they do a great job in doing it, keeping it up. And you don't realize it's a job, isn't it, Terry? Because, y'all are messy sometimes. And got to keep those cups going and all that. But they do that. And then you've got, all these different works. Building lockup, which is a pain. Richard Webb's over that. And then you go down through worship ministry. Again, Aaron's over that. You got the worship team members. That's Matt Page and audio technical, David Hatfield. You don't ever see David, but he's right up there watching you all the time. Communion, Vaughn Brown. These are people that are over areas. Now, that's not all the people that are involved in those areas, but those are people that are over those areas. Children's ministry. And I'm not going to read all these, but you've got all these different names listed down through here of all the different people who are over all the different groups. And we're doing that for, again, multiple purposes. One of those purposes is if you've got a niche that you'd like to fill, look at this list here and say, you know what, I think I could help with elementary education. Well, then you need to see Amanda Brown. because she's the one that kind of organizes that. Or Kids Street Live, then you know what? I need to talk to Kayla. Or you want to help Terry put out the muffins, then you need to see Terry. So he doesn't have to do it every Sunday. But I'm saying there's so many different areas of work that you can be involved in ministry. And our goal is to have every person plugged in to some kind of ministry. Now again, this is not an exhaustive ministry of all the works that are going on in this church. But this is some areas, because each one of these groups, by the way, have people that are under those. Angela Ingram doesn't do all the greeting. All she does is organize the greeters. There's a whole list of people that's under that. So that doesn't, but this ought to show you there's an impressive number of people doing things at this church. An impressive number of people. This is just a small picture of all the different things that are going on. Why? Because we want this to be a place for you. A place where you can get plugged in. A place where you can find purpose. I think of, I don't know that we put that on here. Yeah, we did. Okay, good deal. The Devo and So, Bernice Ackerson. Let me just read this. We got this. You don't know this. Bernice doesn't even know about this. It came yesterday in the mail. I thought I'd read it before I give it to you. But this is a card we got. It says, "How nice of you to be so very kind to Carla." This is a young lady that's got cancer that they made a quilt for. That they do. I don't know, if you're getting chemo, a lot of the problems with chemo is you get cold because your system breaks down and everything, and the chemo and all. And so they make them a quilt, and if they know of a family member that's got cancer or something, they make them a quilt, and they take that quilt with them, and they can wear that, have something to keep them warm while they're getting in chemo treatment. It says, "She is our precious niece who's dealing with terminal cancer. She appreciated this beautiful gift. Her mother said Carla's eyes lit up when she showed the quilt to her mother. Even her husband, Mark, had tears in his eyes when he showed the quilt to family members. We appreciate you thinking of Carla and sending her the quilt. It's a tough time for our family, but acts of compassion like these help ease the pain." In Christian Love, and that was from Ray and Martha Stone. Y'all remember them? They used to come here all the time. And their niece is the one that has terminal cancer. What I'm saying is, by the way, how many do y'all have in that Devo and So? There's probably about 25 ladies that come up here. And if you like to sew, this is your place to be. I come in there the other day. By the way, they eat good lunch too. I try to sneak down here when they're meeting just to say hello. Just happens to be around lunchtime. But anyway, they're doing a fantastic work. And all these different works that are going on. Why? Because we're called to be ministers. We're called to live and love like Jesus. And Jesus came not to be ministered unto, but to minister. That's what you're called for. There are all sorts of things that I could talk about this morning about being involved in this work. But we need to, if it's hard for you to find a place, you may be saying, well, nobody's asked me. Well, there's so many different things. We don't know what your talents are all the time. We put this list here for you to find a niche for you. You see those people's names? Go to them. They will plug you in. So let's do that. A place for you. A place to belong. God wants to do incredible things through His church. There's a place for you here. He tells us in Acts 2:47, praising God and having favor with all the people, and the Lord added to the church daily those who are being saved. Maybe you're not a Christian this morning, but maybe you need to find a place in His family. We can help you do that this morning. If you're here this morning, we have people that wash those towels after you use them when we're baptized. I mean, that's just another ministry. But if we can help you do that, maybe you need to place membership here. Maybe you need to be, everybody needs to be in a body. If you're a Christian, the Lord adds you to the church. If you're not involved in a church family, then you're not filling your place. But I'm going to tell you, He has a place for you here. Every member is a minister here at the Lion Area Church of Christ. We want to help you fulfill your ministry. If we can help you this morning, come as we stand and we offer the